Good morning, friends. We are back with another how-to tutorial. Today we are going to be drawing the soon Pirate King Monkey D. Luffy. This is one of the most famous scenes from One Piece. It's when I believe his name is Shanks gives Luffy the straw hat, and he's crying. He's crying. Well, I can't tell you if you've never seen it, but he's crying for a serious reason. Alright, so the trickiest part of this whole drawing is not going to be the side profile. It's going to be the hat. The hat is the trickiest part of the whole thing. If you can do the hat, you can do the whole thing. Alright, so I'm going to break it down into kind of parts again like we did with the gumball drawing. So, kind of in the top left corner of your page. So your page is going to be sideways today. Not like this. It's going to be like this. In that top corner, we're going to start about right here. And we're just going to draw kind of like a beanie. So we're going to draw, let's see, the band for the beanie. And then the top. The top part of it's going to go off the page. We're not going to worry about the straw hat part yet. We're just going to pretend we're drawing a beanie. Alright, so I'm going to find that top left corner of my page. I'm going to make a curved line. I would suggest doing it very lightly because there is a lot of erasing on this one. So I just made a curved line. And then that is going to be, I'm going to draw a line there, to pretend to draw like the brim of the beanie. Alright. So now I'm going to bring that down. And it's not like a perfect straight line. It's kind of curving a little bit. So I have one. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the top. I'm going to follow it along. Alright. So once we have the beanie brim, then we can round out the edge like we did on the other side. So it should look something like that. So now I'm going to draw in the top of it. So I'm going to step in a little bit. So see how like it's not perfectly starting off like the end of it. You're going to step in a tiny bit. So that way it looks like his red band is actually overlapping it. So it looks like it's going all the way around. So I'm going to step in a little bit and draw the top on one side. And then I'm going to step in a little bit and draw it on the other side. Alright, so right now it looks like a beanie and like the top is going off the page. Now for the straw hat part, we're going to make it look like it's really coming around out of the hat. So we're going to start at the top of the left hand corner, and it's going to start about there where I drew that little line. And all we're going to do is now draw Saturn, like the planet. We're just going to make that big overarching ring shape. And it's just going to connect on the other side of that beanie. So I'm just going to come around, make that ring shape, connect it. Alright. And it's okay if part of it goes off your page. If it doesn't, that's okay too. So I'm just drawing, see that Saturn ring shape. I'm going to do it all the way around. And it's kind of slanted because it's covering his eyes. Because he doesn't want anyone to see him cry. And that's why I said do it really lightly, because chances are you will mess up. Alright, so kind of looks like Saturn in a way. So if you want, you could clean up some of your messy lines. You could leave them till the end. It's up to you. The straw hat does have some details. We will do those at the very end. Let's see, I'll make mine more round. There we go. Alright, so we have the straw hat, or we have our Saturn. And now we're going to draw his face. So it looks harder than it actually is. It's just kind of a line, like a little bump, and little bump coming down. So all we're going to do is we're going to go to about the middle of the hat, and we're going to draw a curve coming down. So line, the bump. And on the top of that bump, we're going to draw a circle and a line next to it. Circle and a line next to it. So that way we know where the nose is. And then after that, then we draw another little dip, and that's where we know his mouth is, where his lips will be. So after that nose, bring it in. So it's kind of just like curvy lines. So it looks a little bit silly right now because we haven't drawn his mouth. But that is the bottom of his lip. So I'm going to bring that in just a tiny bit. And then I'm just going to draw a straight line coming down for his jaw. So I'm going to bring the jaw, the bottom kind of round it out, and I'm just going to bring it up. Up like that. Draw it really lightly because we will erase probably some of it. So now we can draw in the eye and the mouth, so that way we can kind of see where we're at. So for the eye, it's really easy. It's just going to be a curved line coming down and then connecting back in. So it's like a long triangle. And that's because it looks like his face is going to be shaded. Alright. So we have that. That would be colored in black. I'm not going to do it right now. So for the mouth, under the nose, where you drew that little divot, all we're going to do is just draw a big loop. A big loop. What I mean by that is you'll bring a line out, draw a loop, and then we're going to connect it about right there. Not connect it back to his lips, connect it right about there. So we'll bring that loop around and connect it. And then we're going to draw in the teeth. Alright, so we have the loop. On the left side, you can give it a little bit more detail by drawing lines next to it. Kind of shows more of his cheek. For his tears, we can keep it simple. I just drew wavy kind of lines coming down. Just like that. You can draw as many as you want. I drew 2. You can draw like long ones, short ones. You can have it dripping onto his clothes. You can have it just running onto his face. Alright. So for his teeth. So on the left side of his cheek, we're just going to make a long stretched out V shape. So it's like bump, bump. or it looks like one of those birds you draw in kindergarten. So that tiny portion we drew, that would be colored in black, because that's going to be kind of like the back of his mouth, and it helps shape his teeth more, like that. So it would look like that. So from that point, we know we can draw kind of like a curved line like this. So that will be his teeth. So now all we have to do is kind of draw little gum lines and little teeth marks. So for the teeth, you just draw kind of like lines like that on the teeth. And for the gums, it's just kind of be like spiky hair. So you can come in a little bit and you just want to draw like tiny little triangles on the upper part of his mouth, on the teeth, and then you would color those in black. So I'm going to do some on the bottom and color it in and show you guys what I mean. And you can do them like however many you want. You want them all the way across. You want them just in the front, how I have them. There's not really a right or wrong way. Like that. Alright, so now we have his mouth. So now we're going to come into his hair. So his hair is going to meet up with his eye, and we're just going to draw kind of like little V shapes, kind of how we've drawn hair in the past. So I have 3 V shapes coming off the edge of his eye. So 1, 2, 3. I have 3 because then I'm going to draw in his ear right here. And his ear is important because that's where we're going to connect the side of his jaw. See how it connects into your ear? That's what we're shooting for. Alright, so once we have his hair drawn right there, we're just going to make a circle. Just like an open circle for his ear. So we'll come up. Just have an open circle for his ear. Then we can put some ear details in there. So I'm just gonna make a couple lines in there. So let's see, we can do, it'll be the side profile of his ear. So we could do another loop. So I drew kind of like a oval with a hook on the end, and then I'm gonna draw another line coming out of that. And since that is the inside of his ear, we can color it in dark. So that way we know what we're looking at. You can draw it however you would like. That's just how I'm doing it. Alright, so now that we have his ear, we definitely can connect his jaw. So all we're going to do is bring it up, add a curve, and connect it to his ear. Alright, so now we can finish up drawing his hair. So coming down off of his jaw, well actually let's start with the back of the hair. So come up to the top of your hat on the left side and just draw some spikes kind of coming down. So look like this. Some spikes coming down, and we want to get them kind of all the way to the back of his neck. You can draw them going off the page. Alright, so once you get about halfway with them, go ahead and stop, because then we'll draw in the line for his neck, because his hair is actually going to connect to his neck. So coming off the end of his jaw, we're going to draw a straight line coming down. And then we'll draw another line coming down. So this is going to be his neck. It looks a little bit silly right now, but it'll make sense once everything's connected. So now you can go ahead and bring in those spikes to the back of his neck. So it would look something like that. And my hat isn't curved enough. There we go. Okay. Okay, so now that we have his neck, we're just going to draw a straight line across that connects them, but it hangs off on the ends. So it's going to connect them, but hang off on the end. And then we're just going to make a long rectangle. This is going to be the collar of his shirt. So we want to try to keep it the same width the whole way around. And then once we have the collar, we're just going to draw a little arch for the side of his shoulder. And it'll look like it's kind of coming out of that collar. Because remember, he's standing this way, so you're going to see his shoulder. And then all we're going to do for the other side is just draw a curved line down. Curved line down. And that's going to be part of his chest. So now it really looks like he's standing sideways, and you're seeing his side profile. Alright, so now you can go over everything darker. You can color in his eye. I'll do that quickly. And then we will add in the features on his hat for the straw hat. Okie dokie. Alright, so on the straw hat, there's kind of like on the ends, it's little round curved lines like that. We're just going to do that all the way around, just on the brim. There's not like a certain number you have to do. You can put them however you want. So once we have those, then we're just going to put in some lines just like this. However you want, as many as you want, as little as you want. All the way around. Perfect. And on the band of his straw hat, you can kind of draw some lines on it, give it some more detail. And then on the top, you're just going to do the same thing. Kind of draw some lines. Alright, so his shirt is traditionally red. He kind of has a vest, so if you wanted to color it in, you can color it in red. I colored in mine black and gray, just to, like, it'd be darker for you guys to see. But there you have it. Monkey D. Luffy. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.